right, week 14 of the NFL is upon us. This week means we only have 4 more weeks of NFL regular season. I am so excited. Thursday Night Football is last night as Patriots the Steelers. I would predict the Steelers to win. We wouldn't have expected that the Patriots were going to win 21-18. Mitchell Trubisky kind of sucks. So, yeah, missed that game. But it was going to be an obvious prediction that I would have failed on. But we got another 14 games to talk about, a bunch of Sunday games, a couple of Monday night games. Rate the Fit. I got the Mahomes jersey. Got this for my birthday. Go check out my haul on my main channel. I did a haul. I showed this off. But I got the wig with the number 15 attached to it. Like, how cool is that, man? Shout out to my mom for that one. But without further ado, what are your predictions for week 14 in the NFL? Is your favorite team making the playoffs? Is your fantasy team making it to the playoffs? This is the week that counts. Next week, playoffs start. If I win this week, I am. If I lose this week, I'm out. I'm very nervous, but very excited to see how this week will turn out. And let's get started with the Texans at the New York Jets. New York Jets kind of gave up on the season. They started playing Tim Boyle. Like, oh, yeah, Tim Boyle, he's going to be our savior of the season. And then he absolutely sucked, where he got benched for Trevor Siemian, who also absolutely sucked. So now they're playing Zach Wilson again, who is, again, the Jets QB room sucks. Like, they got Aaron Rodgers got injured. Now they got to deal with Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian. The team kind of sucks. So everything there is crashing down. Like, the whole team does. They got 8 points last week because of, I believe, 2 field goals and a safety. So, like, it's just nothing that you want to do. You're playing the Texans team who's red hot. I think that the Texans are going to be on fire the rest of the year. I don't think they might lose a couple other games, but this isn't going to be one of them. They're on fire. They're going to make the playoffs. That's why I'm predicting the Texans to beat the Jets by a long shot. Plus, I picked up the Texans defense. I hope they do something. I'm really glad I didn't get the Steelers defense. Like, really, really glad I didn't get their defense. Los Angeles Rams at the Baltimore Ravens. This one's going to be a interesting game for me because the Ravens were the 1 seed. They got one of the best records in the NFL right now. So this game could really matter what the 1 seed in the AFC is looking like. Of course, I want the Chiefs to get the 1 seed. I don't think they're going to get the 1 seed, but I want them to. Meanwhile, the Rams are a team that has been perking up. They're in the playoff talks now. They are now a whopping, what's their record? 6-6 after a couple game win streak. Meanwhile, the Ravens are 9-3. This got off their bye week, but they're one of the best teams in the NFL. This one's going to be a good game for me, but for me, I have to go with the Ravens. This whole team is a powerhouse. Whether you're talking about the running backs with Keaton Mitchell, who's on fire, J.K. Dobbins, who I believe is back. You also have Lamar Jackson, who's doing pretty good. And even though he lost Mark Andrews out for the season, this team is not getting injured as much as they used to. Lamar Jackson used to get injured every single year, and that's just not happening this season. And so this team is on fire, and while the Rams are starting to do good, they're still in playoff talks. I believe they'll still be in playoff talks. I don't think they're going to win this game. The Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints, we don't really have to talk about this one. The Carolina Panthers are going to blow every game so they get that number 1 pick. I would do that. I would blow every game to get that number 1 pick. Even though you just had the number 1 pick and you kind of screwed it up. Actually, no, you don't get the number 1 pick. That's right, because you traded it away. They're still going to try. They're out of playoff contention. It really don't matter. The season's pretty much over for them. It is over for them. The New Orleans Saints, however, their season's not over. The Saints need to win these games to become first place in the division. This division is not a good division, but did they win last week? No, they lost against the Lions. They need to win out here, and the Falcons need to lose just so they can make the playoffs. The Saints are a team that are still in contention. They're still in talks, but it's very nervous for them. And I think against the Panthers, they're going to get this straight back, and this is going to be the one game that they're going to need to get their offense going. I think that they're going to win this one. Indianapolis Colts at the Bengals. The Bengals pulled a surprise upset against the Jaguars, who are a really great team. I'm blaming Brandon Perez curse wheel. Anyways, the Bengals are a team that they're not all that great, but they still played pretty good football last week. They lost quarterback. They still got Jamar Chase, still got a decent enough defense. But you're playing a Colts team who is red hot right now. I believe they're on a 4-game winning streak. Every game that they are actually looking really good. They came into overtime last week. This offense, Gardner Minshew is bringing this offense to all power. They are a really solid team this year. They're really entertaining to watch. The Bengals are just an injury-ridden team that I believe their season is almost over, and I believe the Colts season isn't over, and I do believe that the Colts are going to win this one just because of how red-hot they've been. I don't think they're going to lose in these next couple of weeks. The Buccaneers and the Falcons. Did the Bucs win last week? Who did the Buccaneers play last week? I believe they won last week. Let me look. It's actually killing me that I don't know who the Panthers. That's right. They played the Panthers. Buccaneers against the Falcons. Falcons won last week barely against the Jets. They beat the Saints. If they utilize their offense, if they utilize their power players, they are a good team. If they utilize everything that makes them good and stand out in this league, they are a good team. But half the time they don't utilize it. And the Buccaneers, meanwhile, they got a bunch of talent as well. They've been taking some tough matchups as well. They're a team that I really like this year, but they're just kind of in a rebuilding stage. They're in a rebuilding stage. Compared to what Tom Brady did, now that he's gone, they're in the rebuilding stage where they're just trying to rebuild the whole squad. And so this season, I do think they can be elite in the next coming seasons as well. I do think the Buccaneers are going to take this one against the Falcons. The Falcons, it's either very hit or a very big miss for the team as a whole. And I hope this one's a miss for the Bucs. I do think it will be a miss for the Bucs, and I think that the Bucs are going to win this one. The Jaguars and the Browns. The Browns are having QB issues. DTR is out. They're going to have to play Joe Flacco. Now you're playing the Jaguars, who are a good team. Of course, they lost last week against Cincinnati, but they still are a good team. I think they are a very solid team as well. So I think that this is a tough one for me because I feel like the QB problems and the offense problems are there for the Browns, but they also got a great defense that can shut them out. But you got to admit, Jaguars have a pretty great offense. They got Trevor Lawrence at the helm, Calvin Ridley, a bunch of other players that are pretty good on the team. Evan Ingram went off last week. I do think the Jags are going to take this game. They got a more powerful offense that I think could stop the defense. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns do win this game because of this defense is just so powerful. But they did allow a lot of points to the Rams last week. So I do personally think that the Jags could take the win here. Final noon game, we got the Detroit Lions versus the Chicago Bears. Chicago is a team that they're horrible, but they keep getting wins. How many wins do they got this year? 4, right? Let me wait until my Google loads and tells me how many wins the Bears have. They're 4-8. My brother's seemingly like, we could still win the playoffs. We're going to make the playoffs this year. He's a Bears fan. I'm like, no, I don't believe you are. Playing a Lions team who sometimes they start off red hot, sometimes they start off real low sometimes, and it either impacts the way the rest of the game's going. They're an interesting team for me. They're a good team, but they're also very interesting in the way they win their games. They're playing Chicago. Last time against Chicago almost took them over, but they did have a stunning last half comeback. Do I think Chicago's going to win this one? Absolutely not. Chicago just came off a bye week. They're not going to start this one off against a tough win against the Lions. Jared Goff he's not great, obviously, but he's still good. Amon-Ra St. Brown's on fire. Defense is pretty good. I do think that the Lions are going to take this one against the Bears by a pretty big margin, but maybe it could be close. I mean, that's kind of the way the Lions are playing this year. Couple afternoon games. We got 4 this week. We got the Seahawks and the Niners. The Seahawks put up a big fight against Dallas last week on Thursday Night Football. Meanwhile, the 49ers absolutely, and I mean absolutely, murdered those Philadelphia Eagles. They killed them. They were dead out of the water, and it is awesome. I'm all here for it. And now that the Seattle Seahawks are playing the San Francisco 49ers, it doesn't matter how much that the Seahawks put up a fight, how good the team can be sometimes. They also really lack in some aspects, but they can play great football, but they're playing a 49ers team that's red hot, not losing another game all year, and are probably making the Super Bowl. Niners are going to take this one in a landslide. The Minnesota Vikings and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders, for me, are a team that Aiden O'Connell's decent. The team's decent. They've been playing much better without Josh McDaniels, but the team as a whole really needs to step up and really needs to start doing other things and other more powerful things to take some wins here. Vikings are still in playoff contention. The Raiders, I don't believe, are. Vikings are 6-6. Josh Dobbs came after bye week after he started being the passer, then he started going down a little bit on primetime. It's not primetime. Josh Dobbs is here. I think the bye week really could do some use for him, and I do think that they're going to take this game. Josh Dobbs is really good on this talented team. Plus, Jefferson's coming back, so you definitely got one of the most elite players in the league. I definitely think Vikings are making the playoffs and are going to take this game against the Raiders team that I think can be solid sometimes, but they're also very much struggling, specifically because they lost Josh McDaniels, but specifically because they're still a young team and still kind of rebuilding in a way. Broncos at the Chargers. The Chargers are a team that won last week to the New England Patriots 6-0. Maybe the Patriots are getting better. Of course, on offense last week they didn't do nothing, but they held the Chargers, who I think have a pretty good offense, to 6. And they also beat the beat the Steelers. So maybe the Patriots are getting a little better. Broncos and the Chargers anyways. Broncos had a devastating loss last week to the Texans that I think is a pretty great team in whole. Meanwhile, the Chargers, they're just a team that keep proving me wrong. Like the Chargers, I think that they're a good team and that they can come in here and that they can win these games. And every week they just lose games that they should be winning. And I don't think that's any difference this week. I think that Denver, a team that was red hot, they did have a tough matchup against Houston, but they're not out of playoff contention. They are not out of playoff contention. I think they know that, and I think Russ can pull some more Russ magic, and I think that the Broncos could beat the Chargers. I do want the Chargers to win. I want the Chargers to win this one, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just think that they're a team that should be winning these games, and they keep losing, so why not keep at it? Why not keep losing the games that you should be winning? And I don't think it's any different here. KC Chiefs are home against the Buffalo Bills. Both teams struggling this year. KC is 8-4. We're 8-4. Buffalo 6-6. So it's definitely a struggle there. But Buffalo, it's interesting. Buffalo, I think, has been playing better football on their offensive side. Meanwhile, the Chiefs haven't really been playing great football on the offensive side. We lost last week. Well, the refs won that game. Yeah, I did a live stream. Go check that out on my main channel as well. But it's really difficult being a Chiefs fan this year, where you should be winning all these games and you just keep losing, not only because of the refs, but because you got the wide receivers you can't catch, and you got all these other issues with Mahomes, and then every other week, and now they're playing the Bills team that's really struggling. They came after a bye week. I do want Josh Allen to go off. He went off against the Eagles. I do think that, I hate to say this, but the Bills team that's struggling has a pretty big chance to beat the Chiefs. I want to say Chiefs. All my heart. I want to say that the Chiefs are going to win this one, but I really don't know. I think this game is, I'm more split down the middle. I can't predict this game because the Bills are a team that can be on fire, but they still lose games because they're having a tough schedule. But then there's also the Chiefs team that should be winning all these games, and they're really slacking. I'm going to say Bills win. I did it. I said the Bills win. I'm sorry. Chiefs Nation. I got to betray us. I think that the Bills are going to win this one. I am obviously going to go on live stream, root all my heart for the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday, but I definitely think that the Bills can take this one, and it really hurts to say that. We got one Sunday night game, and then we got two Monday night games, so that's fun. Eagles and the Cowboys, game of the week again. The Cowboys are on fire. They're red hot. The Eagles are the worst 10-2 team I've seen. They played horrible last week against the Niners. The only tough games they've been winning were mainly because the refs kind of been helping them out, honestly, and the sweaty men butt touch, so that's something that happens as well. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys are genuinely winning these games by the sheer power of how good they are. Like, this team is actually really good. They got killed against the 49ers, and then they've been on fire since. Dak Prescott is getting my brother like 30 fantasy points a game. The CeeDee Lamb's getting like 40 in the league a game. This whole team is on intensity of fire, and I don't think that they're going to lose against the Eagles. I am so happy to say this, and I really hope it happens. I really hope that the Eagles lose to the Cowboys, and it's not only just hope, I think it's going to happen. I'm going with Dallas over Philadelphia in this game, and if it happens, it will make me so happy. I don't like Dallas. I can't stand Philadelphia ever since they got the Super Bowl. It's all either the refs make us lose, or oh yeah, we're the best team in the league. But like every time that the Chiefs win, all the same fans are like, oh, the Chiefs only won because of the refs, and they only won Super Bowl because of the refs. Well, that's the only way you win games half the time. Like, seriously, last week the refs didn't help you, and look what happened. Like, seriously, I can say that the refs definitely were horrible last week's game for the Chiefs. I'm not saying that it was just horrible for the Chiefs. It was horrible on both sides. The officiating was terrible that game. That hit on Patrick Mahomes, that was the worst call I've ever seen. The no pass interference to win the game, that was the worst call I've ever seen. And, of course, we got the pass interference on Travis Kelce. I genuinely thought it was pass interference. We shouldn't call pass interferences on Hail Mary. So that was the right call, but the officiating game is terrible. And the refs are just awful this year. But I do think Cowboys are going to take that one. Sorry for my rant about the refs. Packers and the Giants are our first Monday night game. Packers are on fire. Jordan Love is on fire. But so is DeVito. Well, I wouldn't say they're on fire. They're barely winning these games, but DeVito's doing pretty decent as well. The Green Bay Packers, though, they're a solid team. They're a really great team, and I think that they are going to I think that they're going to take this one and run with it. I think the Packers are still in playoff contention. The Giants are not, and so the Packers are going to be doing everything they can to get the 7th seed like they did last year. And it's very surprising because with 2 wins, they were doing horrible. Then they got 3 wins in a row, and they're starting to play good football. I think Jordan Love is still a pretty good player, and they're going to start playing some pretty decent football. So I think the Packers are going to take this one over the Giants. Final game on here, the Titans and the Dolphins. And this game right here is a game that I am relying on for this week. I got Hopkins playing because I got rid of A.J. Brown, and Tank Dell's out for the season. Awesome. I got Tyreek Hill playing. I got, who else do I have playing in this game? Derrick Henry playing. Got Jalen Waddle's playing. So I got 4 players in this game. I'm very excited. Dolphins are obviously taking this one. The Titans are not a good football team. They played good last week. But obviously the Dolphins walk all over every single team that that is below 500, and Titans are below 500. Dolphins got the number 1 seed. They're not slowing down here. We don't even really have to talk about this game. It's going to be a demolishment by the Dolphins on the side. That was my predictions for Week 14 in the NFL. Is your fantasy team making it? Is your NFL team making it? I want to know all that and more. What do you think of the fit here? I think it's very cool. Go subscribe to my main channel. I got a bunch of more videos coming up. I'm actually going out of town tonight, so I will be back for football. I'll be back for the live stream, but I gotta, I'm also seeing Godzilla at -1 out of town because it's the only feeder that's playing it. So I'm very excited for all that. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Make sure to subscribe. Join the Chiefs Nation. Peace out.